Hey guys, I think this is a very important video I'm making this morning. But before I get to the meat of it, I just want to do something I very rarely do on this channel, is make a few announcements. So apparently my blue collar Catholic shop on Teesprings, where I sell these t-shirts, is open. Remember I made a video that they said I said some offensive things on my video or whatever. Apparently either they reopened it or they never officially closed it. They just took off some shirts. But this shirt's available and some other cool shirts. If you support the Second Amendment and you got kids, I got a cute little shirt inspired by my grandsons called Snipers and Diapers. I have my Stay Catholic shirt still there. So most of the stuff is still there. I don't know what happened. So that's I think you go to Teesprings and then you go to Blue Collar Catholic Shop. You know, for some reason I can't get it popped up like a lot of these guys do. I don't know. So that's number one. Number two, please subscribe. Times are tough. You know, I'm working twice as many hours that I have been working. If you notice, I can't make too many videos at work now. I'm just running and gunning from literally, 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. Just don't even take a minute to eat lunch. I eat while I'm driving. I eat some cashews or some pistachios while I'm driving the truck. So I try and make those quick, short videos, or like get a minute. It was very hard for me to discipline myself to talk and say what I had to say in a minute, but I'm learning. It's very good discipline for me. So if you subscribe, more people see somehow. Algorithms, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I know the more subscribers you got, the more YouTube pushes your videos out, so the more chance you got viewers, and I get a few cents for every commercial that a viewer watches, so that helps out. And then I'm always telling you guys, if you're buying or selling real estate, please go to realestateforlife.com. I'm sorry, realestateforlife.org. If you're buying or selling real estate, it doesn't cost you anything more than if you went to regular real estate, except your fees and your commissions. Go to a pro-life Catholic company, and they donate a small portion of that back to here. So there's little ways that this channel can supplement my job. But a few months back, I told you I had to go work part-time. I was waiting tables at Al Capone's restaurant. It was a themed restaurant down here in Orlando. I dressed like a gangster. You can see I made a video in my gangster outfit one day, and it was a lot of fun. It was, and it supplemented the money I needed. That we, living under the Biden regime, his inflation is through the roof. And incomes are down. Inflation's up, incomes are down. It's what tax and spend Democrats always do to us. But that being said, I stopped. I had some Patreons up what they were giving me. That helped out a little bit. And then my knees, I told you guys I got like bone on bone knee. I tore my cartilage, my ACL, MCL. Knees are pretty jacked up. And I just kind of did my own physical therapy. And I'm able to work, Monday through Friday, but that extra Saturday and Sunday nights at the restaurant, one guy put on one of those timers, said he did like 25,000 steps in an average Saturday night. It was just killing my knees. So I had to take a break from there, but I've been doing the knees over toes. I don't have the official program that you pay $49.99 a month, but I got his book before he made that program. And just the exercises in the book alone are making my knees feel great. So I think I could go back. My boss said just call me when you're ready to go back. So I think I can go back to that. But if I do, I'm going to be making even less videos. So between working, Monday through Friday, 14 hours a day, and then working Saturday and Sunday nights, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to make the videos that I feel God wants me to make. So if you feel God wants me to make these videos, there's another way you can help me out. My son made it when I was working for the milk company. I was a milkman for Borden for a few years, and then they laid off half the company. The dairy industry is struggling. Nobody's drinking milk like they used to. So he set up Patreon, and And again, this, with the shirts, you get something out of it. Real Estate for Life, you get something really big out of it. They can save you a lot of money and really help you out. The commercials, just subscribe. It doesn't cost you nothing. This, I'm asking you, is going to cost you nothing, and you're not going to get anything out of it. I'm not, I'll be honest with you. You'd just be helping me not to work that second job so I can make more videos. So if you think it's that important and you have extra money, the most important thing is you support your local parish. Bar none, that should be your first thought when you have extra money. These priests make very little amount of money. They sacrifice their whole life. I have a life. I have a wife, children, a job. I'll be fine. These priests need our support. But if you're blessed and you have extra and you think this content's important, it's Patreon / Blue Collar Catholic. And like I said, some of these guys offer you videos and books. It's kind of like they're making a deal with you. Support me and I'll give you this. It's a business transaction. This isn't a business for me. This is a ministry. I'm trying to do what I think God wants me to do. So if you got extra money and you want to support us, you could do a one-time donation or a monthly, as low as, I think I have some as low as $2 a month. Everything counts. But that will be the last time, because I feel very uncomfortable talking about money to you guys. So we're going to get on with the video. Last month I made a video about the Atlantic, the super lib lying. They've been caught in so many lies. They've had their own, the Atlantic newspaper is owned by, what's his name? Steve Jobs' ex-wife, super lib billionaire. And she writes, it's like the National Enquirer, but the libs love it because it's so anti-Republican, so they always quote it. But she had someone write a piece calling the Rosary a symbol of hate. The Rosary beads, a symbol of hate, like the swastika, comparing it to the swastika, and Bishop Barron responded to it in a short 2-minute video. And like always, he gave us some great advice. He said, pray the rosary for the author of that article. And then he pointed out, this is just old anti-Catholicism that this country's had, and it always rises its ugly head under something different. He said, back in the day, it was under nationalism and these Catholics weren't patriotic. Now it's wokeism, he said. And he's right. He's right. But I'm going to take it deeper, and I'm going to tell you where this anti-Catholicism is heading and where it came from. You see, the KKK was not only anti-Black, they were anti-Catholic and anti-Jews. The KKK hated Catholics and Jews as much as they hated Blacks. And I'm going to give you a brief history lesson. I know a lot of you guys know this, but a lot of young Democrats don't understand the history of this country. They hate this country and they hate the Catholic Church because they don't understand what either one stands for. So the KKK, and this is a fact, KKK, and when I'm giving you these facts, I want you to research it and Google it, but I'm going to give you this advice. Everything I'm saying today is factual. Some of this stuff happened in real time in my life. I've been a political nerd since I'm 14. I've seen it happen. I know it happened. And when I went to get the exact dates and times and this and that today, under Google and Yahoo, they have it buried. So, and there's been executives that have left Google and left Yahoo, and they say it's purposeful. These billionaire liberals that own these big tech companies hate the Republican Party. And so they will make it hard. Anything positive about Republicans, you got to go down 30 subjects deep. It won't be the first thing that pops up. Anything negative about Democrats, the same thing. Anything positive about Democrats will be the first thing to pop up. Anything negative about Republicans will be the first thing to pop up. So I recommend going to DuckDuckGo. They're much more fairer. So, but you can find it on any website. Just you're gonna have to dig in the liberal run Googles and Yahoos and stuff like that. So after the Republican president Abraham Lincoln defeated the Democrat South and freed the slaves, the Democrat Party created the KKK. This is factual. It was run by all Democrats. It was the Democrat weaponized arm. You know, it was the kind of like how they use Antifa today, but probably worse. So the KKK hated Catholics. A lot of these Catholic myths you hear about the Pope being an Antichrist and all these horrible stories about the Catholic Church came from lies from the KKK. They hated Jews. They hated blacks. Now, in the 1960s, the Democrat Party changed its tactics. They still had the same goal, but they changed its tactics to destroy blacks, Catholics, and Jews. So in the 1960s, 70% of the no vote for civil rights, 70% of the no vote were Democrats. Even Lyndon Johnson, the Democrat president who signed the civil rights laws, said they would have never passed if it wasn't for the Republican Party. Now, the argument you'll hear today, most young Democrats don't even know that. Older Democrats that know that lived through it, will spin it. And this is the argument they'll give me and you. Oh yeah, sure. Back in the day, the Democrat Party was racist. They were started by the KKK. But it changed. It changed. After all those racists voted against civil rights, they left the Democrat Party and joined the Republican Party. That's a lie. That's a lie that the media repeats. That's a lie that the Democrats repeat. You could Google each and every name like I have, and you will find none of them left the party, except one. It was one senator that left and went to the Republicans. All the other, everyone else, 99.9% of them stayed Democrats, including Robert Byrd, who not only voted against civil rights and filibustered it with Al Gore Sr. Al Gore, the famous Al Gore, the green guy, his father, who also was a racist. Al Gore Sr. and Robert Byrd, two Democrat senators, filibustered it. Now, Robert Byrd was a member of the KKK. That's a fact. Not only was he a member, but he was a Grand Kleagle, and he bragged that he recruited 150 of his racist friends into the Klan. Now, this isn't ancient history. Robert Byrd was the leader of the Senate, the Democrats' Senate, from like 1981 to 1987, or 1989. And then when the Democrats took over the Senate, he was the majority leader. He was the Chuck Schumer of the Democrat Party from 87 to 89. So this isn't ancient history. And this isn't some obscure Democrat that no one knew about it. This was a leader in the Democrat Party. Imagine if at that same time, a Republican leader, we found out that not only was he a member of the KKK, but he was a Grand Kleagle of the KKK. This is today's Democrat Party. But their tactics change, and I'm going to show you how they change their tactics in a moment. So in 2010, when Robert Byrd passed away, racist Joe Biden gave his eulogy. Racist Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were there, and when they asked Bill Clinton, well, what do you think about Robert Byrd's membership in the KKK? He's like, well, you know, back in the day, you know, to be a member of the Democrats and to be in leadership, you had to be in the KKK. So he was admitting what I knew. Now, Bill Clinton had his racist problems. Bill Clinton joined an all-white golf club. Again, this isn't ancient history. This is when he's like governor of Arkansas in the 80s. Joins an all-white racist golf club, pays $20,000 down, and he pays $20,000 to join this elite white club. This is Bill Clinton, Hillary's husband, and then pays $150 a month dues. Well, when it's found out, he's like, well, you know, I just wanted to play nine rounds of golf, and that was the only place open, you know, and I didn't even know about their all-white policy. And the media just laughed and gave him a pass. Imagine if the shoe was on the other foot and Donald Trump was a member of an all-white. Just imagine if any Republican was a member of an all-white golf club, country club. Just imagine how this lying liberal media would have treated them. But in fact, Trump did the opposite. When Trump opened Mar-a-Lago Country Club, he was the first country club in South Florida to allow blacks and Jews and openly gay couples. The only one. In fact, the city tried to block him. He had to sue the city of Palm Beach. That is a fact. And yet, what the Democrats do and the mainstream media do, they project their own racism onto their opponent. And so everything racist about the Democrats, they accuse Trump, who was the exact opposite. He was a hero in the civil rights movement. Jesse Jackson had given him an award, and he had a standing ovation from about 100 black businessmen just a couple of years before he ran for president because of what he's done for the black community. Bill Clinton also signed into law to keep a blue star representing the Confederate flag on the Arkansas flag. And speaking of the Confederate flag, there was a big arguments. The left wanted it down. So you know who took down the Confederate flags? It was Florida and South Carolina. They were talking about flew over the Capitol. Republican Jeb Bush took down the flag. And the Democrats were like, oh yeah, his base is going to hate that. No, his base loved it. And us Republicans reelected him after that. You know who put that flag up in Tallahassee? Reuben Askew, a Democrat governor. And the same in South Carolina. You know who took the Confederate flag down? Republican Nikki Haley. You knew who got reelected by her base? Republican Nikki Haley. Do you know who put that flag up? Democrat governor Ernest Fritz Hollins, or Ernest Frederick Hollins, but his friends called him Fritz. So this is the Democrat Party. This is the Democrat Party. The same Democrat Party today that it was when they started the KKK. They just have different tactics. Now, you see also today, Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz is a liberal Democrat fundraiser. He raised millions of dollars for Hillary Clinton, Obama, lifelong Democrat, lifelong liberal, but he is also a civil rights lawyer. And he said, he's a Jew, he's a Jewish man. He said today, 2022, he is troubled by the anti-Semitism in the Democrat Party. In his party, he said the hate against Jews is coming from one party, and it's not the Republicans. Sadly to say, it's my own. And you could just listen to Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, or as they called her in her rich suburban town she grew up in, Sandy Cortez. Sandy and Ilhan Omar and the rest of her crew, on a regular basis, they say anti-Semitic things. You know, President Obama was the first president that didn't block a resolution condemning Israel. See, the UN is very anti-Semitic. The UN hates Israel. They hate the Jews. And they had a resolution condemning Israel and demanding that they stop building in their settlements that they rightly took back when they were attacked years ago. But I'm not going to get into all that. So it's never happened before. Netanyahu was furious. The world couldn't believe it. First time in history, America did not back Israel. That was under Obama. And they project anti-Semitism on Trump when his daughter is Jewish. She married a Jew and converted to Judaism. Trump was the first president that kept his promise to Israel. Ever since Jimmy Carter in 1976, every president since then promised Israel that we would move the United States Embassy to Jerusalem. And none of them did it because they were afraid of the backlash. They were afraid of the Arabs or the Muslims attacking in World War III. Trump did it. Trump did it. Israel loves Trump so much they named towns after Trump. They named bridges and roads after Trump. Trump is the most beloved American president in Israel today. So we see the Democrats' history of hating black people, hating Jews, What about Catholics? Well, just recently, not too far in the past, a federal judge was questioned by Kamala Harris when she was then a senator. And she said, I cannot support you because you belong to that Catholic organization, Knights of Columbus. When Amy Coney Barrett was going up for a federal judgeship, Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein said, I can't support you because your Catholic dogma lives loudly in you. Never have I heard. The Constitution forbids a religious test for this reason. And yet the Democrats get away with it because the complicit liberal media, you know, and every poll, every pew, since I've been watching these polls from like the 1980s, it's gone from like 90% of the mainstream media to 98% are Democrats. Biased, active participants in the political system in this country. But most people think they're watching NBC, ABC, CBS. They're just watching unbiased news. No, you're watching the Democrat media arm spew their talking points. So, I know I had a bunch more facts I want to give you, but we're running out of time. So I'm just going to tell you this. The most diabolical, the most evil thing the Democrat Party has done was destroy the black family. According to economists, African-American scholars Walter Williams and Thomas Sowell, before Lyndon Johnson's Great Society in the 60s that they said we're going to help the black family was striving. They were making economic gains every year. They were getting stronger. The black family had virtually no divorce. Their family was much stronger than the white family. In black families, there was no divorce. They went to church regularly. They stayed together. They prayed together. They were strong. They had lower crime. The highest crime was in white families, not black families. What changed? Well, when Lyndon Johnson signed the civil rights laws and came up with all these ideas that he was going to affect the black community, the reports back then was that he said these N-words will vote Democrat for the next 100 years. So he used them for votes. He didn't love them. He didn't do this out of love. And what he did was he said, we're going to give you this great society. If you don't have a man, if you don't have a husband, don't worry about it. We're going to give you a welfare check. So he broke the fabric of the black family. And I've told you a video about prisons where, 99% of the prisoners don't know their father or they hate their father. Fathers leaving the home affects the children in a negative way. After he started the Great Society, crime went up in the black community, divorce, and the black family was devastated. But they weren't satisfied in just breaking up the black family and putting them into poverty. When Republicans like Donald Trump want to help the black family, and they say, education is the key, and they try and give these kids school vouchers so they can leave an impoverished school in the ghetto and go to an upper class white school and get a better education, Democrats block school choice every time, every single time. But even more diabolical than that, even more evil than that, Margaret Sanger, years ago in the 30s and 40s, started the Negro Project. And I had the book. There's a book called The Negro Project. You should check it out. But Margaret Sanger bragged, Democrat Margaret Sanger bragged that she loved giving speeches at KKK rallies because they were so enthusiastic. Margaret Sanger started the Negro Project to eliminate the black race. She called them the Negro race. That's what she called the Negro Project. She said Negroes are like weeds. They need to be exterminated. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to get articulate Negro religious folk to convince the Negro that we're not trying to kill them. And we're going to put sterilization clinics in all the black neighborhoods. Then after the Negro Project, she founded Planned Parenthood, who my African American friends referred to as Klan. Parenthood. And Planned Parenthood today is accomplishing Margaret Sanger's goal of eliminating the black race, or as she called the nigger race. 90% of Planned Parenthood clinics are in black neighborhoods. In New York City, more black babies are aborted every year than born. Black women account for 7% of the American population, yet they account for 40% of the abortions. They're targeted by the Democrat Party. They are targeted. There's billboards. You know, I run routes in the hood. And there's billboards. Abortion is healthcare. Come to Planned Parenthood. So not only do they want to destroy the black family, they want to kill every black baby they can. This is the Democrat Party today. This is why I say if you're buying or selling real estate, go to realestateforlife.org, because we got to support pro-life companies as well as support pro-life politicians. Now, the good news is people's eyes are opening. The Republican Party is getting more black support now than ever. Trump had more black votes than any modern Republican president, in spite of the media 24/7 saying lies about him, calling him a racist. The Latino community is supporting Republicans by numbers unbelievable that people are blown away, like 70%. It's crazy. And if you look at the Democrats, they have no bench. I mean, just look how dumb President Biden is. And then the younger you get dumber and dumber. So Kamala Harris is 20 years younger than Biden. AOC, 20 years older than Kamala. They have no hope over there. They have no hope. We got rock stars. My governor, Ron DeSantis, is a rock star. We all knew there was a crisis at the border. Thousands of undocumented illegal aliens coming across the border to these small towns that couldn't cope. And they asked Biden for help, and he's like, "Oh, there's no crisis." So DeSantis sends 50. I mean, these guys got thousands a day. He sends 50 to the richest community in the country, Martha Vineyards, and these people freak out. These sanctuary city liberal Democrats freak out, and they call the army and have the army deport them out of their city and bring them to an army base. And they lied to them and said, "Oh, you're going to be staying in nice dormitories." They lied to them. So we have Ron DeSantis, who's a rock star, who's slaughtering his Democrat opponent. Then you have Carrie Lake. The girl is so brilliant in Arizona. She's going to be the next governor of Arizona. She's so brilliant, her opponent refuses to debate her. She's afraid to debate her. And you see this all across America. Democrats afraid to debate Republicans. So I guarantee you, no matter what the media is saying, "Oh, it's close, it's, this or that," take it from me, a guy who's been watching politics since I'm 14. There's going to be a red wave like never. It's going to be a tsunami. I predict we take the House by 60 votes. We take the Senate by 4. Like, it'll be 52-48 in the Senate when it's all said and done. And this will put the brakes onto the Biden's attack on Catholicism, on the African American community, and on the Jewish community. And make no mistake, the Democrats hate the Catholic Church. Remember, it was Barack Obama who sued the Little Sisters of the Poor, a convent of nuns, because they wouldn't provide abortion and contraceptives to their employees, who are mostly nuns. Remember, it was Joe Biden who right now is trying to force Catholic hospitals to perform abortions and sex change operations on children as young as 8. We're dealing with a sick, evil regime, and they need to be stopped peacefully through the voting box. And like Bishop Barron said, pray the Rosary. Jesus said, love your enemies. So we're going to love them, but we're going to defeat them. God bless and stay Catholic.